Ladies and gentlemen, this is fantastic news. William Barr has signed his farewell note and says it was a great honor to serve as Trump's Attorney General. This is the New York Post. Bill Barr concluded his final day as Attorney General on Wednesday, writing a farewell note that it has been a great honor to serve. He's done. We have a new Attorney General, Jeffrey Rosen, for the next month. Hopefully, a bunch of things take place in addition to the pardon of Julian Assange. So we need that to take place. I think that we're going to have that. Based on what I've seen, what we've seen lately, George Papadopoulos was pardoned yesterday, as he should have been. That was the United States government, because Democrats fueled this tinfoil hat fantasy that Facebook has. Now they want direct evidence from Trump and from Peter Navarro and from over 120 Republicans and from 1,000 affidavits, and they want direct evidence. The circumstantial evidence they won't look at. Direct evidence. These are the same people who utilized a dossier, a bunch of nonsense compiled in a binder, purchased by Clinton, in addition to gossip from drinks at a bar, which helped set up and frame Papadopoulos, who did nothing wrong. The Russians would never bought Facebook ads to swing the 2016 election. Not one Facebook ad was ever found to have swung a vote. Not one voter changed his or her mind because they saw a Twitter bot or a Facebook ad. It was a complete, absurd hoax that Democrats believed. Only baseless allegations for the past 4 years. And what they did is they said, well, everyone believes this. All the top government officials believe this. Well, guess what? Peter Navarro's 36-page report is a government document. So there you go. And you had John Radcliffe, you have Ron Johnson, you have Rand Paul. You have people in government backing President Trump. It's just not the people that Democrats want to listen to. But that's a whole other story. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. We've finally surpassed, or hopefully turned a corner pertaining to the algorithm that really, hit this channel. We were on our way to 200,000 subs. Then it just stopped on a dime. And now hopefully we're back up. So it's because of you. Hit subscribe and make sure you get all notifications. And if you want to support my voice long term, my Patreon is on my website, hagoodman.com. I have a Rumble channel also that I'll start doing more on eventually soon. That's below in the pinned comment. But here, quote, as I told the president in my departure letter, and now we have Jeffrey Rosen, like I said, as I told the president in my departure letter and reiterated during my final press conference on Monday, it has been a great honor to serve once again in this role. Kevin Kleinsmith was indicted. You had an agent, a very corrupt official, indicted within the FBI that set up and framed George Papadopoulos and also Carter Page. This person lied to a FISA judge and falsified information. There was a modicum of accountability. You can't say that William Barr did nothing. When Mueller ended his probe, William Barr stated, there is no evidence here, which is true. There was zero evidence Trump worked with Russia. That was never litigated. That was never sent to a judge. They would have been 0 and 1 million if they tried to prove before a court of law that even one Facebook ad swung votes. There was no evidence of anything. Yet the suspicion was perpetuated by journalists working alongside corrupt intelligence officials. And I mean, the media, I have never seen the media become an extension for the Democratic Party, or even during the early 2000s, Bush's, the lead up to Bush Cheney, Rumsfeld's endless quagmires. It wasn't so. You didn't have this. You had media in the tank for Bush. That was true. That's true. But you didn't have this vitriol towards one political party. There wasn't this venom, this contempt for the Democratic Party when Bush was in power. Bush, by the way, being the worst president of all time, which is exactly why the Lincoln Project people are now part of the Democratic Party. And of course, Bernie Sanders voted alongside the Lincoln Project people for somebody who would literally veto Medicare for all. But that's another story. William Barr, you have to look at with a grain of salt. William Barr, he defended President Trump. He helped oversee the end of the Mueller probe, which found nothing, and by the way, helped Democrats immensely in the midterms. But 2022 is around the corner. We take 2022 and 2024. There's no stopping what President Trump has created. 74 million supporters of President Trump. Now, you say, well, that's impossible because if we don't fix this now, it's like, no, you need the House to be run by a Kevin McCarthy or Jim Jordan or a Matt Gaetz or a Devin Nunes. You need somebody who fought a very corrupt system. They have convinced themselves that every single thing Trump has ever done has been a catastrophe. They have absolved any guilt from the governors who presided over the worst outcomes in this pandemic. The Democratic governors and Democratic mayors consistently 8 out of 10 of the top 10 states when it comes to per capita rates, or 7 to 8 of the top 10 states, according to the New York Times, when it comes to aggregate lives lost, aggregate lives lost and per capita rate are always in Democratic-run states with Democratic governors. How Andrew Cuomo got away, was able to circumvent responsibility for the catastrophic decisions he's made, from nursing homes to a whole bunch of things, in March, tweeting out, the risk remains low for the people of New York. There's no need for undue anxiety. I mean, it's just unbelievable. They blame Trump as if America, the Democratic Party, was just longing for him to lead the country. Nothing he said, they would never have listened to anything he said, and then they blame him for everything. We'll see if they do the same thing, heaven forbid, if we experience another catastrophe or if we experience something similar with Biden. They protect and coddle every single one of the Democratic Party's candidates. And this is an obstacle we face. We have to elevate the voices of Devin Nunes, Jim Jordan, Matt Gaetz, Rand Paul, Ron Johnson. There are 120 Republicans, over 120 Republicans stood with President Trump. I mean, the future is bright. You got to make it bright, peacefully and legally. And President Trump did better among African-American voters, black voters, Latino and Hispanic voters, Asian-American voters, non-white demographic throughout this country than any president ever. He helped Republicans gain well over, 10, 12 seats in the House. Republicans flipped the state legislature, so the future is bright. Do not say, ladies and gentlemen, if you watch this channel, I'm only going to give you positivity and a roadmap, some kind of strategy to take back political power. There's a tremendous amount of power and influence in being the opposition. We have to overcome, however, the hurdle of this media that there's never been a media like we've had yellow journalism in the late 1800s, early 1900s. We've had media, fabricate things or sensationalize events, but we've never had media firmly, like the New York Times, while the Washington Post, MSNBC, CNN, they've become pure propaganda machines, public relations, Democratic Party public relations machines. Nothing is objective. Everything is Trump is. When they make baseless claims, like Axios had an article today. Well, Trump pardons people because he craves the power. Where's the evidence for this? They look at Trump's personality. Oh yeah, he just wants to engage in this course of action because of his character flaws. It's like they've made this up. Meanwhile, Eric Swalwell had a romantic relationship, literally a romantic relationship with a foreign operative, and nothing is said. No questions about how much data was lost, classified data. No questions, no investigative journalism, no nothing. The Washington Post didn't investigate the possible top secret and classified intelligence that was almost certainly hacked from Madam Secretary's private servers. The New York Times never investigated. CNN never investigated Eric Swalwell's affair with a foreign operative. They don't ask questions. They don't engage in investigative journalism. They barely touch upon it and report maybe and then leave it at that. That's it. You can't even make a claim because it's an allegation that's baseless without direct evidence. But with Trump, it's unclear what Ivanka and Eric Trump have done, but we know they did something. They're very corrupt because there's a Southern District investigation into the Trump organization, and they're part of the Trump organization. So we don't really know what's going on, but there's something going on. That's the way they frame everything. So in addition to amplifying the voices of Devin Nunes, people who fought against a very corrupt system, we need to overcome this hurdle called not just media bias, media literally becoming part of the Democratic Party, an extension, a mouthpiece. How do you do that? Well, I mean, if you enjoy my channel, but if you enjoy, there's a million channels, well, not a million, but there's about 10 to 12 to 14 channels out there that it's important, a lot bigger than my own. From Tim Pool to Sticks X and Hammer, Tim Pool, Anthony Bryan Logan, Brandon Tatum, Kevin's Corner. I mean, you can list Mark Dice, Steven Crowder, Ben Shapiro. You might not agree with everything. He might, criticize Trump, but Ben Shapiro is very good. So the Daily Wire. I mean, there's about about 12 to 14. Jericho Green, he's fantastic. And that's just on YouTube. Brandon Tatum, that's just on YouTube. If you like Breitbart, or you like Just the News, or you like The Federalist, or you like The Daily Caller, read those publications, support those publications. There has to be a way, ladies and gentlemen, to overcome, there is no, Newsmax. If you watch Newsmax, keep on watching Newsmax. There has to be a way for us to overcome this immense and absurd media spin that's become this monstrosity. There's no... The views of Trump supporters are not only marginalized, they're disparaged and demeaned by media conglomerates that have perpetuated the most absurd nonsense from Trump, from an American president being, in a Moscow hotel room receiving bodily fluids being showered upon him. Okay, this is what they think is appropriate. That was a baseless claim without evidence, but they're okay with that because it's against Trump. If God forbid you make any claim, and then what they do is they play these little these logically flawed games. Well, this one affidavit said there's something absurd. Well, there's 1,000. Go look at the 1,000 now. Did you find anything within the 1,000 that makes any sense? No. They want to erase all 1,000 plus affidavits from people from people that signed them under penalty of perjury, and they focus on one. They never did that with the Steele dossier. You had so many articles. Well, Michael Cohen, he might have been in the Czech Republic. We just have to keep checking, keep searching. So, William Barr resigning is a good thing. It's the first step towards a whole bunch of really, really interesting pardons and things that President Trump does. I just explained in my last segment, he's ordered full declassification of anything to do with Trump Russia. So that was in an executive order yesterday. I mean, these are things that need to be addressed and focused on. I'm not necessarily obsessed over, but Democrats would obsess over these things. The difference, and you have to understand, excuse me, the difference is that Democrats have political media in this country. We do not. So you need to gather, whether or not people get indicted, James Comey, Clapper, Brennan, Strzok, McCabe, whether or not they all get indicted from the Durham Special Counsel, that's not the most relevant issue. The most relevant issue is the evidence compiled for the House and the Senate under Trump Republicans to continue investigating, to ensure that there are legal consequences for what took place. They set up and framed President Trump. And the Democrats would never have allowed President Trump to use a dossier against Biden or anyone else. But they allowed President Obama's administration. This is a turning point, ladies and gentlemen, for not only for President, and we need a special counsel for Caligula, Biden's son. Here you go. How a great AG could set Barr higher. This is Michael Goodwin. Let's see. We need a special counsel. He's calling for a special counsel. Everyone's calling for a special counsel. And President Trump, we know, wants a special counsel. So there should be two special counsels. And if you pardon Julian Assange and Edward Snowden, you send a message that the Bill of Rights exists, despite the apoplectic condemnation and paranoia of Democrats. You start a special counsel with Caligula, Biden's son, and you show that nobody's above the law. This man, this is an overt pay-to-play scheme. And what they were able to do is literally hide tens of thousands of incriminating emails before November that show overt pay-to-play schemes, bribery schemes, where everything is done. It's called legal graft. Democrats have perfected it. Oh, thank you for meeting your father while he's sitting vice president. Looking forward to more meetings. Then you don't pay Biden directly, you pay his son. There's no equivalent there with Eric Trump or Donald Trump Jr. They were already wealthy. And they didn't leave a laptop at a computer repair store. But see, again, everything is when Democrats and when liberal Democrats get caught, they say, well, it's all relative. Or they say, well, Eric Trump and Donald Trump Jr. and Ivanka and Jared, they're worse. But they still can't name an equivalent act like leaving a laptop in the mail leaving a laptop at a computer repair store with incriminating data. And then just with Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton actually shipping a laptop in the mail. Like literally, the Daily Beast wrote about that. So, like I said, Jeffrey Rosen and President Trump in the next month, now that Barr is left, can do a whole bunch of things. So it's a very good day. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. Tell your friends about this channel. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your support. Keep telling your friends about this channel. Let's get to 200,000 subscribers. I appreciate you.